Let's start off with our opening prayer. We are doing our emotional eating challenge today, just in time for Christmas. O Great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, amen, namaste. Okay, so food. What are the places where you are finding that you are triggered? What is it that you want to eat that you feel that you shouldn't be eating? What is it that you are binging on or overeating? Is it when you're watching the TV? Is it when you're lonely? What emotions are coming up? Let me know what's coming up for you so that we can do these clearings. I'm going to teach a little bit, and then, as usual, I'm going to dive straight into answering your questions. Okay, so we're going to go back to the basics. We think we have many problems, but really we only have one, is our separation from God, right? When we experience that separation, and we experience those separations most acutely after arguments, after emotional or physical trauma, after disappointment or loss, when our feelings are out of control, and when we believe that they will always be out of control, that there is nothing we can do, that our emotional pain is permanent, that is when we will start trying to control things in our external environment. And that might be food, that might be money, that might be achievement, that might be exercise, that might be drugs. We will start trying to numb the feelings and the pain that we believe is permanent. But I'm a strong believer that all addiction comes from a belief that you are always going to be in emotional pain. Okay? You might want to write that down, and you might want to muscle test that, because that is a gold nugget right there. All beliefs come from the place that we are all addictions, whether it's food addiction, drug addiction, come from a belief that we are always going to be in high levels of emotional pain, and that this is the only way, right? The only way to manage those emotions. Food is the only way. Drugs are the only way. Alcohol is the only way. Sex is the only way. Exercise is the only way. Okay, so you want to start off with looking at the belief, I will always be in emotional pain. And if you believe that the emotion is permanent and the pain is permanent, then you're going to need something to numb it. You're going to need something to soothe it. You're going to need something to comfort yourself. Okay, I'm going to dive straight into the questions, and then we will tailor it to the consciousness based on what's coming up. Hi, Sky. Can you tell me what's maintaining my emotional eating and bulimic patterns? Thank you. Much love, and thank you for your amazing work. My love, there's some sort of sexual trauma that you've been through. There's a fear of being there's a real fear of your sexuality, and I think there's been some kind of there's been some kind of sexual trauma going on. So I'm going to bring in Mother Mary, and we're just going to do an unconditional love healing. Can we release the belief I will always be in emotional pain and replace it with the truth? I can create emotional peace. Emotional pain does end. Emotional pain does heal. I know that a life with emotional peace is available to me. I can choose and create emotional peace now. So all eating problems, bulimia, anorexia, overeating, they all stem from a wound, right? Now, your story is unique to you. How you got the wound is unique to you. But the wounds, just like there are seven chakras, there are seven virtues, and there are seven wounds, as it were, right? So when we're dealing with wounds from emotional eating, where the wound came from matters to you in your healing journey, because it will give you the wisdom, the blueprint, and the map for your return to wellness, for your return to wholeness. But when you are working on emotional eating, you are working on the effect and not the cause. The cause is the emotions that you feel you will be in pain with for the rest of your life. The cause is the fact that you feel emotionally out of control, right? You could work on dieting and eating healthy until kingdom come, and it won't ever switch, because the problem is that you are in emotional pain, you are in emotional suffering. So if we work on the emotional suffering, everything else will change. And that's why so often when I'm working with clients on anything, right? Even today, I had a client come to me and say, I'm struggling with ADHD. And within moments, we went from struggling with ADHD, anxiety, and depression to, I think I'm screwing up my life. And where does that come from? And whose voice is that? And getting to the root issues, for to them leaving the session going, I'm actually feeling strong, I'm feeling in control, I need a nap because I've never released that much in my life, but I don't feel like I'm screwing up my life. I feel like I can actually take charge of my life. We don't mess around when it comes to healing. We go straight to what's separating that person from themselves, what's separating them from feeling like they are in the power in their world, like they are able to create, right? So the first place is you want to look at what feels out of control in your life, because if your eating's out of control, it's a mirror of it for an area of your life that you feels out of control and that you feel you have no control over. It might be your family, it might be your romantic relationships, it might be your financial situation. But as a rule, right, even with money, and one of the reasons I end up working with money again as a byproduct, one of the reasons that I get breakthroughs with clients that everybody else has not been able to help when it comes to money, is because the money is not the problem, right? You have to really look at what the issue is. And 9 times out of 10, money issues and food issues come from the same place, right? The reason that you feel like you have to make money, like if it keeps you up at night, it's because you don't feel safe without it, right? So if you don't feel safe without money, who made you feel that unsafe, that you could not escape from, that you could not get away from growing up? Because the poverty that you cannot escape from, the fear that you cannot escape from, is an exact replica of the pattern that you had with them as a child manifesting in adulthood. You can't escape from the poverty because in childhood you couldn't escape from them. And in childhood, that creates a learned helplessness, right? And then the same learned helplessness that you exhibited around that parent or around that sibling or around that bullying or around that teacher is the learned helplessness that you will exhibit around money or food or toxic relationships. Because as a kid, you don't have the liberty to start bringing in money, or new generation kind of does with, social media and things like that. But the older generations really didn't. You don't have a credit card. You can't just leave. There's nowhere for you to go. So this pattern of learned helplessness runs really, really deep. And it causes these addictive patterns, because when we're faced with the same situation again, an issue that we cannot outrun and that we cannot get away from, we go into the same response that we went into when we were children, which is normally pretend it's not happening, ignore it, or live in fear of it, but don't do anything because you can't do anything. And that is being firmly stuck in the inner child archetype. However that manifests for you, whether that manifests as the black sheep or as the golden child or as the invisible child, it, or as the bad child, it doesn't matter. However that child archetype is, when it comes to a situation you think that you cannot change or fix, which in your childhood, right, is your parents, your teachers, people you have to go to school with every day, then you will treat the problem the same way as an adult with a learned helplessness, and then you become perpetually stuck, right? So anywhere where you are recreating that pattern, where you are staying in learned helplessness and in the inner child archetype in relation to emotional eating, right, or in relations to addictions of any kind, to toxic relationships, to drugs, to alcohol, can we release that now, please? There we go. Can we show you that that's not you anymore? And that you can now solve this problem from the mind of an adult. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with Archangel Raphael. I'm also Archangel Raphael is actually seriously wanting to cut some cords. So the other displacement that happens when we have emotional eating is that we start seeing the food as the source of our comfort, right? Food's always there for me. It always makes me feel good about myself. Oh my God, this chocolate cake is like an orgasm. Oh my God, that was the best food I've ever had. Sounds similar to, oh my God, that was the best sex I've ever had, right? This food is a godly experience. So people will often replace the love that they are really looking for from God, from their soulmate, from their connection with themselves, from their family, with food or with whatever substance that they have become addicted to, right? So, anywhere where you are making food the power in your world, where you're giving it the power to love, nurture, comfort, support, anywhere where you are giving it the power to make you feel better, anywhere where you're giving it the power to calm you down, to make you whole, to return you to who you are. There we go. We're just going to let Archangel Michael cut those cords, pull them out, particularly your solar plexus, and plug you back in to your creator that is the source of all nurturing, all love, all intimacy, all connection of everything that you desire. Right? Food is not love, it's just food, but God is love. Ooh. Okay, and creator's also showing me some of you are going, I will stop emotional eating when, right? I will stop emotional eating when it's kind of funny when Christmas is over, after this birthday party, after this stressful period at work, after um this winter, so many afters. When I've got more time as a mom, when I've got more space to myself, when I get more sleep, when I feel like it. So all of you that are trying to say, I will do it later, whatever excuse it is that your ego's coming up with, can we give it to God now, please? Okay, let me have a look. Okay, hi Sky, can you tell me what's maintaining my emotional eating? Oh no, we've done this one. Okay, food is poison, fear around food and what to eat. Hi, beautiful. I just joined the masterclass. Thank you for the amazing opportunity. You're welcome, beautiful. Okay, so food is poison, food is bad, food is wrong. Food is just light, okay? Food is just light. What happens is that when we are in a place of fear, right, we are then attracted to foods that have the vibration of fear or foods that aren't food at all. And we are told that all that's going to happen if we eat foods that are bad for us, junk food, etc., is that we're going to get a little bit fat. That's it. And that's a horrific lie. What happens if you eat junk food is heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, brain fog, dementia, you know, hormonal imbalances, tumors. Like when you eat food that's bad for you, we get told that we're going to get a little bit fat. That's not true. Most illnesses on the face of society come from a diet that is nutritionally deficient and that is not designed to love you or take care of you, that is dead, right? So a lot of food, it's not poison, it's just not food, right? It was never supposed to be food. It was someone's way of making money, but it was never food, right? Most of it is literally oil, salt, sugar, fat. That is it. Because if you mix those things together, then it's scientifically proven that animals and people will not be able to control themselves. And that's why they do it. They call it the sweet spot, which is just the right amount of oil, salt, fat, sugar, that you mix together so that something becomes what they call like moorish or addictive, like a box of Pringles, right? You can't stop. And they know this. They know, and there are whole teams hired to taste test new products to make sure that they're exactly in that zone, because the more that people buy, the more profit the company makes. But it's still not food, right? Food is created by nature for your body. It is alive. It gives you energy. It gives you sustenance. Fake food strips your body of vitamins and minerals. It creates stress because it might not be stress to your emotional mind, but it is stress to your body that it then has to pull magnesium, zinc, selenium, and a bunch of other things and bind it to whatever toxic substance it is that you just ingested to be able to get rid of it. It might not be stressful to your mind, but it is stress on your body, right? It's stressful for your arteries, it's stressful for your brain. So all of these illusions in the background, like this belief that food is poison. Food is not poison, but we have a lot of fake food. So can we show you creator's perspective, definition, understanding of food, right? If it grew in the ground or if it came from a tree. There we go. We also talked a little bit earlier about how we underestimate the darkness, particularly with food. I think it's so hard to face the truth. It's so hard to believe that this darkness exists in humanity, that we would make food for each other that kills us is a very dark thing, right? It's a very dark thing. So we kind of bypass it because it's just too, and then it feels like melodramatic or that we're crazy. But if you fed any animal at the zoo what you eat on a weekly basis, they would not be okay. They would get very, very sick very, very quickly. So can we show you that it's safe for you to see the truth and it's safe for you to change your diet accordingly? Now, this is where we come to how we're conditioning and programming other people in our life to allow us to make change, or we're programming them to block us to make change. So if you make change in your diet and you're sitting there going, I've got to eat this shitty food, you get to have that amazing junk food, and I have to eat this rubbish, this tasteless stuff. I've got to watch my calories. If you are positioning and programming other people that your healthy diet is deprivation, that your healthy diet is causing you suffering, that your healthy diet is making you unhappy or miserable, that your healthy diet, right, is in any way, shape, or form going to inconvenience them, then you are setting them up to sabotage you, because people are hardwired to make other people happy, right? So the moment you start telling them that you are unhappy, they're going to try and make you happy. And if what they think is going to make you happy is junk food or a chocolate bar or whatever it is that makes you unhealthy, that's what they're going to do. So you have to start programming people to know that that's what you like. And that's why I can, like, when I first taught intuitive anatomy, you know, the gift from my students, the first gift my students ever gave me in intuitive anatomy was a Whole Foods a Whole Foods card, right? Because every day I came into class very happy with and I always went to Whole Foods and got like 3 big, sometimes 4 big juices, um, and then all their chopped fruit, and sometimes like a big bucket of salad, sometimes like the chopped vegetables with hummus, sometimes they're tubs of fresh lentil soup. But and when I was invited to do things or eat with people, I was always like, oh my God, this food is amazing, right? And that's how I really felt. So people got the message that I was eating differently and I was enjoying the process. And what do? Bring me more healthy food. They didn't want their salad. Sky, do you want my salad? They didn't want their lemon. Sky, do you want my lemon to put in your water? They didn't want to eat the fruit thing their husband had packed for them. Sky, they've got this bag of organic grapes over here that I don't want. So people will volunteer to make you happy. If you let them know you like healthy food, there's an abundance of it that people don't want and that will come your way. But you have to communicate with people that you enjoy eating this way for them to support you in the process, right? And I'm lucky in that I even have friends that will choose restaurants where this is a place Sky would love, this is a place Sky would love, this is a place Sky would love. I get text messages from my friends or from my husband going, I tried this new coffee shop. They have a whole list of green juices. They have a whole list of salads. I think this is a place you'd love. Sky, this place has bliss balls, right? So people start telling you where you can find more of what you like and more of what you love. But if you're going around telling them that you don't really want it, that you don't really like it, that you're forcing yourself to do it, then they're going to help you sabotage yourself because they want you to be happy. They really deeply want you to be happy. So, anywhere where you're sabotaging yourself, right? By talking to other people about how unhappy you are and kind of obligating them to rescue you from your healthy diet. Can we release that now, please? Okay, that's looking a lot better. Let me have a look at a few more questions. Oh, hello. Can the angels tell me what to do to stop eating sugar chocolate? Why can I not stop? Whenever you're craving sweet things, it's because your life lacks sweetness, right? You feel like the joy, the romance, the sweetness, often the sex, it's like there you don't have any of that. And then you try to replace the sweetness of life with sweet things. From a nutritional perspective, supplements like chromium, cinnamon, they really help you to balance your blood sugar, right? But the reason that we crave sweet things is because our life isn't sweet enough. So can we allow the angels to bring more sweetness into our lives? And the places where we feel the romance is blocked, the sex is blocked, the intimate conversations is blocked. You know those conversations where you talk to like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and you just feel that that person gets you on every level. There you go. The magic of life. Okay. It's looking a lot better. Hi, Sky. I think I've been emotional eating for decades. Most of us have our entire lives. I'm only now understanding I can stop it. I'm trying to motivation. How can I just stop? The fastest way to stop is to replace one habit with another one, right? And that's why so many people, when they're stopping smoking, they go from smoking cigarettes to chewing gum, or they go from smoking cigarettes to eating cake. Like people use addictions, even emotional eating, as a way of self-soothing, right? So the way that I did it was I switched the snacks like crisps and for for nuts and fruit and bliss balls. And it's the eating is not the problem. The problem is what you're eating, for starters, right? And the way to stop emotional eating is to start creating peaceful emotions. Do you want to muscle test that for me? I can create peaceful emotions. I'm allowed to create peaceful emotions. It's a whole section in the Louise Hay book, You Can Heal Your Life. And if you do not allow yourself to create inner peace in your emotions, you're going to suffer for your whole life, right? The food is not the problem. The food is supposed to numb the feelings that are stealing your peace, that are stealing your joy. So, what would it take for you to believe it's going to work out? What would you take for you to believe that you can come through this? What would it take? There we go. Okay, that's looking better. Hi, Sky. I've done so much clearing and so much from the past, but my eating habits have not changed and my IBS is still very present. What else do I need to do? Thank you. So, if you think about the drama triangle with victim, rescuer, perpetrator, just draw a picture. Victim, rescuer, perpetrator. Okay, I'm going to put it right next to me so you guys can see, right? So, victim, perpetrator, rescuer. When most people are doing healings, right, especially on themselves, they focus on their relationship with the perpetrator. Okay. When we do healing in medical intuitive technique, or when you do shamanic type journeying, they teach you to do the healing from the perspective of each part. Okay. So you have to forgive the perpetrator, right? Have compassion for the victim. And that could be the inner child, the inner adolescent, the wounded new mother or father, whatever part of us was treated unfairly or unjustly. So this one requires forgiveness. This one requires compassion, right? And this one requires responsibility. So these different virtues come out different ways. So most of us are just dealing with our relationship with the perpetrator. We're just forgiving our father, forgiving our mother, forgiving the bully, forgiving the person that hurt us. But we never change our relationship with ourselves other than to say, oh, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. There needs to be real communication between you and the part of yourself that was wounded. The wisdom is in the wound. What parts is the victim consciousness holding, whether it shows up as an inner child or a wounded adult or a wounded adolescent? What is it holding, right? How is it still manifesting? What is it that you need to be able to change? Because some of us don't even like the hurt part of ourselves. We just want it to go away. We just want to fix it. We just want it to heal. And that's where you get to the rescuer part of you. What part of you refuses, right, to give yourself love, understanding, respect, safety? Because when this part of us is refusing to give this part of us or this part of us, when the rescuer is refusing to give the perpetrator or the victim respect, safety, power, love, witnessing, like really seeing them, then we're trapped inside the cycle, right? So this part is like taking responsibility for whatever parts of yourself you are withholding love from. And guess what? The perpetrator, whoever hurt you, because we're all one, is a part of yourself. And the same thing with the part of us that was hurt, right? So that's why this is so good at separating us from ourselves. It provides infinite variety. There's a million different ways you can be hurt. There's a million different ways other people can hurt you. And there's a million different ways that you can refuse to love and acknowledge and cherish and feel safe and stuff with somebody else. So when you're coming at it from a healing perspective, the biggest reason people get stuck in this, I've done everything, but my IBS, my eating and stuff hasn't changed. You can address your relationship with the perpetrator till you're blue in the face. It is still a very powerful healing. Sometimes it's enough to create the miracle. But if your relationship with the victim part of you is screwed up, if your relationship with the rescuer part of you is screwed up, and that's the part that holds the highest energetic and emotional charge, then that ain't gonna move, right? When the reason that it moves sometimes when we're working with the perpetrator or the person that hurts or the abuser is because that can be the area that holds the strongest vibrational charge, but it isn't always, right? So you have to check which one holds the strongest emotional charge, which one has got the most wisdom, which one has got the most learning. And when it comes to shamanic journeying or medical intuitive, you have to address all three. Okay. Hi, Sky. I've always felt I can't eat, as if food is an enemy. I'm not sure. I love food, but it's an enemy, as if food makes me fat. Thank you. This, like, I'm just scanning you and it immediately shows me like being force fed as a child, and that's where the belief food is an enemy comes from. So you've got like work to do on weaning and breastfeeding and being forced to eat, like you don't get up off this table until you finish your dinner sort of energy. That kind of trauma is what coming up, and it's not it got transferred like food is the enemy, but actually it's this power struggle with your parents on an unconscious level. So anyone that's got this power struggle with their parents going on, can we release that, please? Okay, Akash is saying, hi Sky, please assist in tackling bloating and love handles, even if I'm controlling my diet. Okay, controlling your diet does not work. Why does it not work? Because it's based on the belief. It's based on the belief that you are depriving yourself, and your unconscious mind is geared towards getting you what you want. So anything that represents loss or deprivation is going to fail, right? You have to switch the language to I am choosing to eat healthily. I would choose this even if there were a million other things on the table. If you are telling your unconscious mind to control what you eat, you're immediately going to feel controlled. Name one person you know that likes to be controlled, right? Nobody wants to be controlled. They don't want their diet controlled. They don't want their mind controlled. They don't want anything controlled. People want freedom. So if you're telling yourself that you have to control your diet, it's self-sabotage all over the place. But if you tell yourself that you are free to choose what you put inside your mouth and that you have complete freedom to choose to only put healthy things, right, inside your body, and that you are free to make that choice every single day, right? That it's up to you what you put inside, that you are choosing this, that you are free to choose, right? That you choose it freely. Then your unconscious mind starts to go, oh my gosh, this actually makes me feel freer. I'm free to be beautiful. I'm free to be the weight that I want to be. I'm free to be healthier. I'm free to live without pain. I'm free to have better mental health. I'm free to enjoy foods that actually take care of my body. I'm free to enjoy healthy food. But if you use the words, I'm trying to control what I eat, bloating and love handles. So bloating is your body telling you that you're not able to digest the food that you're eating. It's as simple as that. You're not able to digest the food that you're eating. So you want to have a look at stomach enzymes and digestive enzymes, and you want to make sure that you have done a colonic or some kind of a bowel cleanse. And love handles is like weight on the back, particularly around the adrenal glands, is your body telling you that you are very, very stressed, right? Because fat actually produces estrogen. So if you are not producing the right amount of estrogen, and then your body will hold on to more fat because it will get hormones from the fat as well. So this is like meditation, exercise, making time for you. And I can already feel the energy of, but I can't, but I'm never going to get that with the kids, but my partner doesn't support me. All of that is a mirror of you believing you do not deserve time for yourself, or that it's selfish for you to take time for yourself. And if you don't believe me, think for 1 second about how much you judge your partner for taking time for themselves, right? Or even how much your parents or your kids or whatever would judge you if you made that space for yourself, and you'll get it. The external world is a mirror of what's going on inside. So if you judge other people for making time for themselves, then You will experience other people judging you or blocking you from making time for themselves or having support, particularly if you feel that it's morally wrong. Hi, beautiful sky. Yes, my resistance and stuckness, I believe, comes from the undercurrent story of things will never change. What's the point? Directly related to my dad's mental and emotional abuse. Yeah, because what happens if you start being healthy, right? What happens? It's one of the most fundamental things that affect your base chakra, because if you change your diet, the way you look changes, the way you feel changes, your energy changes, right? And you've just started practicing self care instead of self neglect or self abuse. So your habits changed. And if you grew up in an abusive environment with an abusive mom or an abusive father, whether you're a boy or a girl, your brain is like, oh my God, now I'm going to be attractive. Now I'm going to pull on a partner and I'm going to end up getting trapped in a long term abusive relationship. So I better put a stop to this right now. Or it goes into, oh, I won't know if the person loves me because I'm sexually attractive, or if it's because they actually love me for who I am. I'm going to put a stop to this right now. Or it goes into, oh, I don't know if I'll be accepted. Nobody in my family is like this. They're going to reject me. Everyone's going to get jealous if I suddenly become thin and gorgeous and energetic. And nobody's going to hang out with me. So let's put a stop to this right now. Or you're in a relationship and your partner still eats rubbish and they're not attractive, and they have no energy, and you start to lose weight and you start to be attractive and you start to have more energy and you start to have less and less in common, and you start to notice that there are guys looking at you or women looking at you, and you go, oh my God, I'm going to start cheating if I lose weight. I better put a stop to this right now. Right? So there's all these ways that you can tell yourself it's not safe. It's not safe to be healthy. It's not safe to be thin. It's not safe to be beautiful. There's all these ways that you can give yourself that message on an unconscious level. And the moment that you tell your unconscious mind it's not safe, guess what? Its whole job is to keep you safe. So if you're saying this isn't safe, it's going to put a stop to it. It's going to kibosh it right now. Right? But the reality is, what is not safe is staying in a relationship where you and the other person don't value your health. What isn't safe is never allowing yourself to experience the full extent of your sexual, mental, and emotional powers of attraction. What is not safe is carrying the fear of men or women for the rest of your life because you were abused as a child. But the manipulation of the ego is tricky, and it plays games, and that's one of the ways that it does it with food. But there's a lot of ways that it will keep you stuck. One of the ones that comes up is around being a mom. A lot of people believe it's inappropriate to be sexually attractive and be a mom, right? So, and they believe that there's more chance that the marriage will be destroyed, or that the what's it called, the kids will be unhealthy. Like, the mom is not supposed to be good looking. Moms are meant to be frumpy and dowdy, and a lot of women, and a lot of, not just women, but fathers and stepmoms, etc., change the way they dress, change the way they look after they have kids, because they are subconsciously afraid that they will cheat, or that they will destroy the marriage because somebody else is going to be attracted to them, right? So any of those excuses that you have coming up around emotional eating, can we release that now, please? Okay, that's looking good. Hi, Sky. My daughter Olivia has a little lump on her left breast. She's 7.6 years old and is open for healing. Okay, I'm going to send Archangel Raphael and his band of mercy. She doesn't do good with dairy. Take out the dairy, please. I'm really getting shown cheese, milk, hidden dairy, and cakes and things like that. Please remove the dairy. Okay, that's that healing done. Hi, Sky. My cat and Kitty are not well. Oh, could you please send them some healing? I also experience fear and anxiety around something happening to them, which is not helpful. Thank you. Okay, we're just going to call on the angels. Ask for an instant animal healing. Anyone else whose pets aren't doing okay, we're just going to send unconditional love now. And Archangel Michael's asking if we could just do a vacuum of pets. So if you have a pet, can you please commit to asking Archangel Michael to come in and energetically vacuum your pet of all the emotions that it picks up from you and other family members on a daily basis, please? Because pets are very energetically protective, but sometimes it makes them unwell. They absorb too much. Same way that sometimes eating human food isn't good for them, carrying human emotions isn't good for them. So can we just get Archangel Michael to come in and give them a nice vacuum? Okay, that's looking a lot better. Vegan chocolate at the moment is taking me in the evenings, knees hurting, weight stubborn to be finally released and left off. Thank you, beautiful Isabella. Okay, so let's just, okay, so immediately I'm being shown a pretty severe magnesium issue. So please start supplementing with magnesium 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah, he went back on the table.
Okay. Send a healing to my Baba as well. We just had a bit of a bump.
All right, now you come down just a second, sweetheart.
Okay. Jupiter was going, learned helplessness. Bingo. This is too accurate. I know I'm good, huh? I know trust me, the reason I do these topics with you is these are the ones that stumped me for years. And they took me years of emotional work, years of study, years of therapy to break through. But you will treat your addictions with the same helplessness with which you faced your abusers. And it is a bitch, but it is worth it when you crack it. Tough nut to crack, but when it cracks, oh my God, it feels so good. How do you deal with the helplessness from childhood? Well, this is why when we do journeying or when we do hypnosis or when we do medical intuitive technique, one of the things that you have to do is Vanya and I call this like growing up the child, because to your nervous system that is still happening. It's still like physiologically to your unconscious mind, it's like you're still there in the same situation, you're responding to it in the exact same way. So in that dialogue with whatever part of the wounded self it might be, and please, I know that in psychology they're like hammering in it's always the inner child, but in my experience it's not. Sometimes it's the first time you've got birth trauma, sometimes it's a rape as an adult, sometimes it's losing a parent, sometimes it's being abused by a sibling, sometimes it's being abused by a partner, right? You have to trust your unconscious mind and where it takes you. But you also have to complete the trauma. So in theta healing, we go up and we command that trauma be completed, that it's over, it's no longer needed. With hypnosis and medical intuitive technique, we often dialogue with all 3 of those parts, the rescuer, the victim, the perpetrator, and basically complete the helplessness, because you were helpless as a child, right? You were, it's 100% accurate, but you are not helpless as an adult. As an adult, you are free to make different choices. As a child, you're really stuck, right? Unless you actually like have family or people that are willing to take you on or take your side against parents. And even then, 9 times out of 10, it tends to make the situation worse, right? So as a child, learned helplessness was the correct behavior in the face of a difficult of an impossible situation or an impossible person. As an adult, you can use spiritual intervention, you can use belief work, you can make different choices, you can change jobs, you can leave the relationship. as a kid, this is where victim comes from, is that as a child, you cannot leave. You can't turn around to your mom as a baby and be like, I'm coming out of here. You need your parents to survive. And that sort of dependence is so profoundly vulnerable that we dissociate, we forget what it's like to be a child. And most of us struggle to connect with that because it brings up so much stuff. Okay, I replaced cigarettes with sugar, sugar with food, but no longer works. Nothing gives me the satisfaction anymore. So that's what you're working on. Why can't you get satisfaction from life? Very often, we are not willing to do the work required to get what we want. Okay. And most spiritual people, I would go as far as saying 90%, maybe even 99% of spiritual people miss opportunities because it comes dressed in overalls and looks a lot like work. And we are given this woo-woo, light and fairies. Let me just journey up to creator meditation and everything is going to be done. That's not how manifestation works. You journey up and you give your vision to creator, and then you will be given guidance, steps for you to take, right? For you to become the person that can hold this vision on earth. So when we're dealing with satisfaction or a life that we really want, what we do when we're not willing to put in the work or we're not willing to change is we lower our standards. And the more we lower our standards, the more dissatisfied and disappointed we become with our life, right? So the way that I speak to myself and the way that I motivate myself is that I say 3 to 6 months of sacrifice, hard work, focus, and discipline gives me back, I would say, at least 5 years of my life. And 5 years of my life of focus, dedication, discipline, sacrifice, and discipline will give me back my whole life. People underestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what they can achieve in 5. Okay. But you have to be willing to make your mission on earth a priority. You have to be willing to master the behaviors and the habits required, right, to have a magnificent life. And that's very different than what most of us grew up with. It's very different than what we're told will give us pleasure. We're told to go for instant gratification, right? Instant spending, instant eating, instant sex. And it's what you said, none of it works. None of us gives us satisfaction. It might keep you entertained for your 20s, and then you're going to be bored and you're going to want more. So you may as well let yourself want more and do the work to have more. It's not permanent, right? It isn't permanent. It's like building a house. The hardest stage is building the house. Once the house is built, it's much easier. It's the same thing. The hardest stage in divine life purpose, the hardest stage in business, the hardest stage in money is building the wealth that works for you. Once you've built it, it's a lot easier. But that first stage of building it, that can be pressure and stressful, but it is worth it. It is 100% worth it. And it's 3 years or 5 years versus 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and the rest of your life, right? Oh my gosh, that one's me. I will stop when. Yeah, all of us with the excuses. It just drives me mad. Yeah, I'm giving it to God right now. Good. Hi, Sky. I tend to lose my appetite when I'm going through adversity and skip myself. What can I do about it? Thank you. So when we are stressed, our prefrontal cortex shut down and our limbic system and our amygdala flares up. Okay. So the body actually stops being able to break down food or digest food the way that it needs to go. Okay. The way that it needs to be done. So it's very normal to lose your appetite when you're stressed. The easiest way to get around it is to start with something warm, like a cup of tea or a cup of herbal tea in particular, to start something like havening where you're regulating the nervous system and deep breathing, because only when your nervous system switches from red to green will you start feeling hungry again. Okay. It's not healthy to eat when you're really stressed. Most people eat when they're really stressed because they want to put weight on their stomach, and the stomach is the seat of all emotion. So they just want to numb, right, their stomach, but it's not healthy to eat when you're stressed. Fasting is exactly what you should be doing. And it actually strengthens your immune system. And that's what you need when you are stressed. You need protection, right? Not just psychic protection, but emotional protection, physical immune system protection. Okay. So what can you do about it? Warm teas, regulating the nervous system as much as possible. Things like ashwagandha, adaptogenic mushrooms like reishi are all very good for regulating the nervous system. And sensory blankets, I love the sensory weighted blankets. You can even get them with crystals in them instead of sand, that I love as well. But it's about regulating the nervous system to allow your diet to come back. All right. You may also want to look at patterns. So, for example, when I was a kid, sometimes you were sent to bed without dinner, or sometimes when you were, particularly when you were being punished, right? And sometimes the person who was supposed to be preparing meals, like if you had an argument with your mom or your father, wouldn't prepare food for you. A lot of us went without food because we were being punished, right? And then we manifest the same things as adults. So anywhere where you are blocking food when you feel like you're being punished, can we release that now, please? There we go. Okay, and have a quick look. Emotional eating is from your ancestral line. Okay, it is from your ancestral line. But this is what I mean by even when it comes to healing, we can make it complicated and we can make it about the story instead of the reality. All inherited emotional eating comes from pain. Now, it can come from the pain of war, the pain of recession, the pain of domestic violence, the pain of grief, but it's still the same thing. Unless your line, our ancestral line, understands that you are the power in your emotions, you are the power in your world, then you will always be a vibrational match for this pattern, because it's emotional chaos that creates emotional eating. Emotional peace creates healthy eating. So, can we release the chaotic emotions that you inherited from your ancestors and the belief that food was the best way to handle this, instead of actually journaling or processing or releasing these emotions? Okay. Beth is saying, I'm very limited in what I feel safe is food because of my poor digestion. It affects me, so I can't eat at social occasions because I start to panic. New food is going to harm me. How can I get out of this cycle? Okay, so this is not a situation that's just going to be fixed with a healing. You're going to need some nutritional support with this one when I'm scanning you, because you've really got bad liver and leaky gut and digestive issues going on. But we're back to the issue not being the issue. The reason that your gut is destroyed is because your nervous system really isn't okay, and you're living in an environment that's full of emotional abuse, even as an adult. Sorry, that's what the angels are showing me. So I'm going to bring in Archangel Michael to help you find the courage to leave, right? To leave emotionally abusive environments, and to protect yourself and to defend yourself, and to actually trust your gut feelings. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop here and do our closing prayer. We are now over 40 strong in the Medical Intuitive Mastermind. DM me if you want to talk. You can see we do go into emotional eating. We do go into resolving this, because it's one of the biggest causes of disease. Okay, so I would love, love, love to connect with you. I know that most of you are you're right here sitting on the fence. I need you to get off the fence. I need you to come and talk to me. I need you to step into your power as a medical intuitive and your divine life purpose. I need you, right, to Be honest about what it is that you want for your life, and stop lowering your standards and start raising your standards. Let's do our closing prayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow again from 1 until 2 and from 4 until 5. O great Spirit, Father, Sky, Mother, Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives, and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste.